Hello, hello, how's it going? Just to give you a little bit of information about what this is my live author reading. I usually read two authors who have submitted their work to me so that I can read and promote their work. They're excerpts that are usually between 2,000 to 2,500 words. I am on TikTok Live under my Indie Author Connect account. I am on YouTube Live, and I am on Twitch. I'm sharing the link out right now. If you guys want to bring in more people to help support these authors, feel free to share out the link if you would. That's what I'm doing right now, so I apologize if I'm just a little quiet while I do that. Let's see. This one should pick me up here soon. All right. So, I apologize if I am. It's being weird for you again. Can everybody hear me? Let's just make sure. I mean, I see like the little green bars moving. It looks like you can hear me. If you can, let me know. If you can't, I don't know. Can't help you on that one. I apologize if I am a little bit rambunctious this evening. I've been working long hours at work to get done with these tight timelines. I finally finished them up today. I've got a couple, low-hanging fruit that I'll take care of. But it's been long hours at work, and then I've still been putting in hours to try and work on my book in the evenings, and still been working to get the Indie Author Connect website updated with all the local events. Ontario is monstrous, by the way. Anybody from Canada, if you're from the Ontario area or close by, there are tons of events around around that province. So as soon as I get that done, by all means, check it out. I don't think I'm even a quarter of the way through the list right now, and there's already like 24 events on the page, so it's going to be a beast. To give you a little bit of information about what this is, as I already kind of started to say, this is my live author reading. Hey, Tanya, how you doing? This is my live author reading. I do it every Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I take two authors who have sent me excerpts, and I read them anywhere between, up to 2,500 words, I should say. It's good to see you too. Thank you for joining. And I see Megan up there too. I know she said it was being weird for her, but I don't know. Again, if you guys have any problems, just, tag me in the messages, say that I'm screwing something up, because that's bound to happen. But yeah, so I've been burning the candle at both ends this week. I'm a little bit rambunctious, but I am excited to get into these. I tried to prepare the most I could. I read about halfway through Hidden Elements by M.A. Kilpatrick. I'm going to butcher the hell out of that, so I figured why not have some fun with it. So everything in there is pretty much Irish based. So I'm going to try my hand at the Irish accents for the dialogue as much as I can. There are multiple characters, some of which are female, actually a lot of which are female, so prepare to have your ears bleed. And there's a lot of Irish words in there, and I've done my best to prepare, but like I said, I only made it about halfway through, so this will be fun. And then you have The Shifting Kingdoms by Cazzie Bliss. And this is an interesting story. I really enjoyed the read. Again, only made it about halfway through. There's like a section break in there that I made it up to that. So we'll see how that one goes. But hopefully it all goes well. And if there are any people out there who are Irish and I butcher the accent, I don't know, string me up on my feet, I guess. I'm going to have fun with it. Let's try. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just giving it a shot. So, again, this is something I do every Thursday. I post it up on a website, on my atlascreedauthor.com website. You can go to the live author readings page right up here. If you can see that, I know my mouse is kind of small. That'll take you right to the page. On that page, it'll tell you what you need to do to submit. I've got a calendar there of all the upcoming events. It's booked out through February and most of March. And then I have my previous readings, which brings us to the active one tonight, which is M.A. Kilpatrick and Cazzie Bliss. Both of these, if you click on the book title, it will take you to where the book is available to be purchased. If it's out, both of these ones are. And if you click on the author name, it'll take you to either their link tree or their website. I think both of these take you to the websites. It's whatever the author gives me so that you can follow them, support them on social media, do whatever you need to do to just, yeah, support other indie authors. That's what we're here to do. Oh, share button's missing. That sucks. That's okay. We got people sharing it out. If you need to, just step outside and yell really loudly, see if it'll draw some people in. Absolutely. But yeah, so that's what this is. If you are an author that would like to have an excerpt read, I think I might shorten it. 2,500 words is starting to get a little bit tough, but we'll stick it with 2,500 words for now. And as I said, I'm booked like halfway through March right now. I've still got a couple more that I need to schedule that are sitting in my inbox that I haven't responded to, even though I said I would respond to them once I got your email. I apologize about that. It has been busy on my end. I do have your emails. I am going to schedule them. Just bear with me. But we are going to be starting this evening with, let me get the demo page up here. Sorry, I'm working on two different sides, so I apologize. We are going to be starting with Hidden Elements by M.A. Kilpatrick, which honestly, if for TikTok, I'll get my webcam out of the way here. It's a beautiful cover. It really is. And as I said, it's got a lot of Irish words in it. I'm going to have fun with it. Try the Irish accent. Don't hate me if I get it wrong. If you are Irish, don't be offended, please. I'm doing my best. And for those of you watching on Twitch and YouTube, I'm going to get my webcam here now. And we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. This is an excerpt from Hidden Elements by M.A. Kilpatrick. Has a lot of Irish words in it. I am going to try the Irish accent. Have fun with me. Laugh at my mistakes if you want to. Let me get some water and we'll begin. Hey, Jabo, how you doing? Okay. He had just left the kitchen, intending to finally start a conversation with his elusive redhead, when his brother, Connor, snuck up behind him, threw an arm over his shoulder, and said, "What's the crack, Drehar Bake?" Calder sighed, pinched the bridge of his nose, and said, "Bloody hell. Oh, come now. I may not be a redhead, but surely you can manage a little love for your most handsome brother." Calder just stared at him, stunned and speechless. Connor barked out a laugh and said, "You haven't exactly been subtle, lad. I didn't notice your new obsession, but I have my adoring fans to keep me occupied. But big brother Liam, he notices everything." Calder sighed and said, "I should have known." Connor replied, "Yeah, you really should have. But, at least in this case, you happen to be pursuing something our loving brother approves of. Which brings me to why I'm here, with you, instead of the aforementioned adoring fans. Liam asked me to relieve you of your duties for the evening, so you may go pursue this intriguing redhead, who happens to also be, stop me if you've heard this one, a fae. And I am absolutely dying to know why I know nothing of this little hottie. Granted, I play for a different team, but I still like to know all the players. Anyway, I'm tagging in, so bring on the annoying fires. I'll put 'em all out. You can thank me later. And you should also thank Liam, you know. But I'll leave that between you and him. Happy hunting, bud. Sloan." Connor slapped him on the back a little harder than was strictly necessary, and started to walk away. Calder grabbed his arm, spun him around, and gave him a quick hug, whispering, "Thank you, brother." Connor smiled at him, showing off dimples that drove the other boys crazy, and replied, "My pleasure, love. Now go find her." Calder quickly compartmentalized the gratitude he was feeling. Gratitude for Connor wasn't that unusual. Gratitude for Liam, however, that was a different story. But he could deal with that later. Right now, he had a redhead to stalk. He quickly scanned the ballroom and just happened to catch a glimpse of red curls disappearing around the corner. He quickly followed, hoping to catch her alone, or at least with only her cinnamon-eyed friend. He wasn't quite quick enough, though, and the door to the safe room clicked shut as he turned the corner. "Crap," he thought. "I left the venue keys in the kitchen." He turned around and nearly ran back through the ballroom. Unfortunately, not everyone had gotten the memo that Connor was taking over for him, so he had to gently but firmly extricate himself from a couple of different conversations. He finally reached the kitchen, grabbed his keys, and headed back across the ballroom toward the safe room. The entire time he was going over in his head what he would say, how he would introduce himself, ways he might compliment her. He really needed to make a good impression. He reached the safe room door, took a deep breath, unlocked it, and opened the door in one smooth motion. What he saw made him question his sanity. Next to the safe, the dark-haired girl with cinnamon eyes was putting the money, or most of it at least, into the safe and writing down the amount in the logbook. None of that was unusual, but the rest of the scene more than made up for it. The object of his infatuation was in the process of tossing what appeared to be a tiny red mouse into the air. The mouse then shifted mid-air into a scarlet macaw, who turned back to face the redhead. As if that wasn't strange enough, the silver-eyed Fae took that opportunity to toss a big wad of cash into the air and give a little twist with her hand, sending a gust of air to help guide the money into the parrot's waiting claws. The bird grabbed the cash, flew up to some ductwork near the ceiling, and dropped the money into what appeared to be a backpack partially filled with other wads of cash. Calder kept looking back and forth between the two Fae, occasionally glancing up to the parrot, not wanting to believe his eyes. I finally found someone I'm interested in. She's even a Fae, which causes some problems but eliminates others. And she's a bloody thief. He shook his head, a look of disgust coming over his face. He stepped into the room, the sound causing all three females to whip their heads toward him and freeze. He closed the door behind him. No need to involve anyone else in this circus, he thought. As he took another step toward Keegan, her temporary paralysis dissolved, and she squared up to him and called fire into both her hands. That stopped him dead in his tracks. Another debaucher? Damn, I hate that word. How the feck was that even possible? His brain began spinning off in directions he couldn't keep up with. However, Keegan chose that moment to cause the flames in her palms to flare up, redirecting his attention nicely. Anya leapt off the ductwork and shifted into an eagle, diving down to land on one of the tables beside Keegan, making her allegiance clear. Kara decided it was time for some damage control. She stepped up next to Keegan, put her hand on her shoulder, and calmly said, "Everyone take a deep breath." Keegan said, her eyes never leaving Calder. "I'll breathe when I'm dead." "Wait, that didn't come out right." Kara patted her back and said, "Love, I think you can put the flames away. I don't believe we're in any imminent danger, but I do think we need to have a conversation, and time is limited." Keegan glanced at her friend and then Anya with a questioning look. "Don't ask me," Anya said with as much of a shrug as her eagle wings could manage. "I'm ride or die. I'll light the place on fire and laugh as we watch it burn if that's what you need from me. But, yeah, de-escalation is maybe not my strong suit." Keegan thought about it for a moment, and then clenched her fists, causing the flames to die. Kara said, "All righty then. Why don't we start with some introductions? I am Kara Delaney, a Fae from the Air Clan. At least, my mom is of the Air Clan. My dad was human, so I'm half-breed." The look of shame that quickly crossed her features at that term told Calder most of what he needed to know about her. He nodded politely at Kara, then looked at Keegan, waiting for her introduction. Keegan stared back defiantly for a minute, then Kara cleared her throat and elbowed Keegan lightly in the ribs. "Oh, fine. My name is Keegan Doran, and I belong to the Fire Clan, obviously." Then she clamped her lips shut and refused to say any more. Calder, slightly amused by Keegan's attitude, said, "But didn't I just see you use air power as well?" Keegan's eyes widened, and she stammered, No, just fire. You must be mistaken." Calder crossed his arms over his chest and said, "Oh, really? I don't think I am. Right after you tossed the mouse/parrot in the air, you used air power to guide the money into its claws." Keegan shook her head. "Nope. That was just a perfect toss." The look of stubbornness on her features convinced Calder to back off that particular point for a moment. Anya whistled and said, "Yoo-hoo! Mouse parrot over here. Since nobody else wants to introduce me, I guess I'll do it myself. The name is Anya. And I'm most definitely not an it." She took that opportunity to shift back to her parrot form and continued her commentary, ostensibly talking to herself, but at an increased volume. How could anyone mistake me for anything other than a queen absolutely boggles the mind. But maybe he's a little slow. Calder's lips twitched, but he mostly maintained a straight face. Okay, then. I guess it's my turn. My name is Calder O'Phelan, and my family belongs to the Earth Clan. Then he held his hand out toward a potted plant located near the curtained windows, whose buds were almost ready to flower. With a twist of his wrist, all the buds trembled, and gorgeous, deep red blossoms burst forth. It was so beautiful that Keegan couldn't contain a small gasp, and her defiant expression finally softened a bit. Calder looked at Keegan, and she glanced away from the plant and back at him. Do I trust her? He thought. I don't know anything about her. But she is Dubolsha, no matter what she says. I know what I saw, and there's that damn feeling again that I should keep her close, protect her. Then he gave a slight nod, as if coming to a decision. He reached his hand up, clenched his fist, and pulled downward. Suddenly, several tiny droplets of water appeared out of the air and followed the motion of his hand. He guided the water over to the newly transformed plant to give the newly transformed plant a drink. Anya let out a squawk and said, Holy shit turds, Batman! I did not see that one coming. The three other Fae looked at each other, and all started cackling. After a minute, Keegan shook her head and mumbled, Fuck my life. Calder took a deep breath and said, All right, lasses, let's begin again. Now that we both know about our special abilities, maybe you can explain why you're stealing money from sick children. Keegan pinched the bridge of her nose and shook her head. Kara said, I told you. Monster. Keegan said, First of all, we aren't really stealing it. We're simply borrowing it, because we will definitely pay it back. Now it was Kara's turn to pinch the bridge of her nose and shake her head. Calder gave a short laugh and said, Not sure where the present tense is coming from, because you have been caught. Red-handed. You're not leaving here with that money. I can't be much clearer than that. Keegan took a deep breath to retort, but Kara stepped between the two, lifted her hands, and said, Time out. Calder took a slow, deep breath and thought, Not only is she a thief, but she's also a stubborn ass. She does have gorgeous eyes, though. Damn it. He shook his head to clear his mind. I need that money, thought Keegan, desperation increasing by the minute. Kara lowered her hands and looked at Keegan, saying, Of course we're not keeping the money, Keegan. Of course we're not keeping the money. Keegan, we'll be lucky if we don't go to jail. That gave Keegan pause, and she swallowed hard, thinking about possible ramifications. Calder stared at them for a full minute. Then he started pacing back and forth in front of the door, obviously having an internal debate. I don't have any reason to trust them, but I can't shake this feeling that I'm supposed to. Finally, he decided to put them out of their misery. I'm not going to send you to jail. They both let out audible sighs. But I do think I deserve to know why you were trying to steal from us. Kara lowered her eyes and took a step back. This was Keegan's story to tell. Keegan's eyes got a faraway look in them. She said, When my mom found out she was pregnant with me, she was terrified. She'd grow up with that stupid prophecy. I'm sure you know the one I'm talking about. Calder gave a curt nod and said, The Aisling prophecy, also known as the Dubolsha curse. The very one, she said with disdain. So, she did the only thing she could think of. She ran. She came to Earth, had me, and that, she thought, was that. But a few months ago, right after my 21st birthday, actually, she started getting sick. She just keeps getting weaker and weaker, and nobody can tell me why. We don't have much money, and it costs a lot to hire a specialist to figure it out. She paused and caught a hitching breath. So, that's why I need to borrow some money. Calder said, No, I won't lend you any money. She felt her eyes welling with tears, so she quickly looked at the floor. He stepped closer to give to her and lifted her chin with one finger until she looked him in the eye. Her skin's so soft, he thought. Come on, man, focus. I didn't say I wouldn't help you, but I really don't think your human doctors will be able to help, no matter how much you pay them. Keegan blinked her tears back and said, But then, what can I do? I can't just let her die. I won't. Looking thoughtful, he cocked his head to one side and said, Let me go speak to my mother. If she doesn't know something that will help, she will insist on finding someone who does. The LC have millennia of experience treating illness and injury. Someone will know what to do. Keegan turned to Kara and collapsed against her friend, shuddering with relief at the thought of finally finding a cure for her mother. Maybe I won't have to do something I'm ashamed of, she thought. Kara stroked her hair and whispered soothing nonsense against her ear, swaying back and forth. Calder turned partially away for a moment, giving Keegan and Kara a moment. Then he cleared his throat and said, There's one other thing. If I'm going to be spending a great deal of time going back and forth to Tir na Nog, and I truly don't mind doing so, but I'm going to need some help with my business. I have no doubt that you three lasses can help keep me from falling behind. I will, of course, pay you for your labour, extremely well, provided I get your best effort. Anya waddled across the table toward Calder and said, Can I get paid in crickets and jewellery? With great difficulty, Calder managed to keep a straight face and replied, Of course, Queen. Anya stuck her wing out and said, Deal. Calder gently shook her wing and repeated, Deal. And that is the end of the excerpt from Hidden Elements, which I had a blast reading, even though I mispronounced a few of those words, I'm sure. Kilpatrick, M.A. Kilpatrick. I don't know. Do you want me to call you M.A.? But she's in the chat. Hopefully I did your reading justice. But that was a lot of fun to read. I like the little bits of humor you put in there. The characters are very diverse. And they kind of seem to play off Mel. Okay, perfect. They seem to play off each other really well, which I like. I am not great at reading female voices, so I apologize right up front on that one. It's very hard for somebody who's not a professional at all to really get those get the diversity in voices, and I'm probably sure I mixed some of those up at some point, but all the same, fantastic read, really well written, and honestly, I'm excited to see more about how this world exists and, you know, how these characters build and grow. I'm not sure how far into the story that is, but it definitely seems like it's kind of more towards the beginning, which I'm excited about. So, yeah. Irish accents are definitely difficult, and I'm not Irish at all, so, you know, yeah. That's the first third. Okay, perfect. Yeah, this was really well done, and honestly, you know, I've got myself in the way. This is a beautiful cover. I don't know who did it for you or if you did it yourself, but it is a phenomenal cover, and I really like it. And I really like the representation of the Irish culture in there. You know, if any of this is pulling from actual culture, then I'm really excited to read it and kind of get to know a little bit more of Irish mythology, lore. I'm assuming that's where you're pulling that from. But this is fantastic. Yeah. All right, let me get the promo back up here. I'm working off two different screens, so I apologize. All right, perfect. Yeah, so again, that was Hidden Elements by M.A. Kilpatrick. It is on the website. Her book is released. There is a link to it, so if you want to add it to your list or purchase it, by all means, please do so. And there is a link on my website to her website. And so you can find her on any social media. Of course, she is in the TikTok chat, so by all means, go follow her. Oh, even better. So the ebook is free right now. Awesome. The melding of worlds. Yeah, I agree, Jabo. There was nothing really jarring. It seemed to fall in naturally, which I really appreciate. And I thought that was really awesome. And even the brothers, just that little interaction between Connor and Calder was really well done. So yeah, no, that was an exciting read. I'm really, really happy that you trusted me with it. And again, please go to my website. On TikTok, I've got the links up here for both Atlas Creed and Indie Author Connect. AtlasCreedAuthor.com is where you can find the links to all this stuff. Please, by all means, go support. Between each reading, I usually do a little bit of a, selfless insert promotion, if you will. So what this is my live author reading. Any author that wants to send me their excerpts, I will schedule you in. We'll read whatever excerpt you send me. Of course, I always kind of read it ahead of time or glance it over ahead of time to make sure that there's nothing that's going to get me banned in from TikTok. I take on any genre, anything you want to send me. I will definitely say the intriguing bits where, like, you get like a little bit of mystery or you're introducing yourself to the world. Those are the parts that kind of seem to get a little bit more excitement from people. So by all means, send me those. It's a short excerpt up to 2,500 words, but I'm thinking about lowering that down to 2,000 just to make things go a little bit quicker, because it's getting tougher now for me to read them ahead of time to really kind of prepare for this. And then also shameless self-insert on TikTok. I am now on my Indie Author Connect page because Atlas Creed is still banana-rammed. By all means, check out the Indie Author Connect website. We collect resources that I think that authors would find useful. People like audiobook narrators, editors, cover designers. We've got beta, alpha, and ARC readers on there. We are expanding. I'm starting to put marketers on there. I'm trying to get some photographers, some book cover models, anything that a writer could use, you name it. I'd like to put it on the website, and it's slowly moving along. We also collect local events. Right now, we're just in US and Canada. For like conventions, expos, fairs, festivals, stuff like that in every state as I can find them. I've been pretty good about finding big collections, and I've been putting the local events in there. It's got everything you need, from a link to the actual convention website, a link to the location. It'll take you straight to Google Maps to where the location is, so you can easily find directions if you need to. And then it's also got links. In most cases, I can get it directly to the application. But if not, like if they do like a Google Forms or Jot form or like a PDF that's specific to that year, I don't want to have to update that every year. So I usually just send you to the closest location that I can for the application. And if their booth prices are immediately available, I try to include those as well. Most places don't really make them immediately available, or they say that, they change every year, or contact them to figure out the prices. But I'm hoping that does work for many people. So far, I've just been grabbing the bigger, more well-known ones, which tend to run a little bit more pricey when it comes to booth costs. But I am, after I get that list built out, I am trying to find some smaller ones. So by all means, go to indieauthorconnect.com, look at all those resources. We also did just open up donations and merchandise, which is just t-shirts, tank tops, v-necks, pullover hoodies. And all of the proceeds of that, again, 100% of the proceeds to that go into what I'm calling an author fund. If you join the Discord, we had a little poll running on there, trying to figure out where people would best use financial assistance. And that's what we're going to try to use as our baseline for helping people out, probably going with like the top 3 or something like that. But once we have a good fund going, I'll create an application that I will use beyond just the Discord so that we can get a wider base. Those applications will come in, we'll review them. I'll probably gather a team of people to help me out with that. And then we'll start helping you guys fund your projects so you can get them out and into the world. Just anything I can do to help out. We are not collecting royalties on that. This is completely crowdfunded by other authors through merchandise sales and through the donations. So I hope that'll help. And with all of that out of the way, I know that was a mouthful. Let me move on to the next piece. Sorry, again, working on 2 different things, which is Cazzie Bliss's piece, Shifting Kingdoms, Ronir's Story. I don't know if Cazzie is in the chat here. If she is, say hello. And if she says hello, by all means, you've got her TikTok channel. Go follow her. If not, on the website, I think the link on her author name also takes you to her website where you can follow her on TikTok, Instagram, or any of those other locations that she might be on social media. As always, let me get my head out of the way so we can start doing this reading. And I'm going to get a little sip of water. Oh, and just a reminder, I know I kind of gloss over it. I've got the TikTok chat up in the corner for Twitch and YouTube, so you can see where the primary chat is coming from. But M.A. Kilpatrick did say that her book, Hidden Elements, is currently free on the ebook right now, so by all means, you can't beat a free book. And if you are reading these stories, please drop the author a review. It helps us more than you could possibly know. Without further ado, this is an excerpt from The Shifting Kingdoms, Ronir's story by Cazzie, Bliss. In the distance, the faint gurgle of Orcish begins to reach our ears. Large tents caked in sand disturb the horizon along with ashen clouds belonging to smoking campfires. We find ourselves crouching behind a large tree, the forest dwindling and cover quickly depleting. "What's that sound?" Clara whispers to me as I notice a large orc heading our way. He's muttering to himself about humans and rebellions. Sounds like something big is in motion. Don't worry about it. It's just an orc," I whisper back, not removing my eyes as he approaches. He carries a large axe that's rusted due to many years of being drenched in blood. He's on patrol. "That's what I'm afraid of. Those beasts are brutal." I don't respond. Did she forget my conversation with her sister? I guess once you're afraid of something, there's no changing it. They'd treat me far differently if my tusks were a little larger or my skull more jagged. But I push those thoughts away. I slowly stand and stroke down my hair while dusting off my clothes. Clara tugs on the hem of my cloak and stares up at me. "What are you doing?" "I'm going to have a chat. Stay here." I yank my cloak free and step out of cover as I stride toward the large orc. I clear my throat and try to remember the language. "Afternoon, noble warrior of the war band. Can you take me to your chieftain?" The orc swiftly swings his axe forward, but I'm able to dodge it in the nick of time. He's slower than expected. I've seen imps with more speed than this. He recovers his stance and tries again, but I slide between his legs and kick him in the back. He falls to the ground. "No more! No more! I yield!" I walk around and kick dirt into his eyes. "A mighty orc showing cowardliness? That's not proper. You must take pride in your defeat and fight until the light fades from your eyes." I slam my foot onto his hand, forcing him to drop the axe. Clara watches from the forest, her face a mixture of fear and awe. I nod in her direction before picking up his weapon and squatting in front of him. "Now, are you able to take me to your chieftain? We have business." I sling the axe over my shoulder. It's heavy, but not uncomfortably so. "Or should I tell him you were defeated by a halfling?" He grunts in protest before scrambling to his feet. "Don't tell him I displayed weakness toward an enemy. I'll take you to him if you vow to hold your tongue." "On spilled blood, you have my word." I awkwardly toss the axe back to him where he catches it in one hand. I pat his bicep and return to Clara, who smiles at me. "What were you talking about?" "Orc things. He'll take us to his chieftain." I offer out my hand and she takes it. "Even me?" "Oh, I left that part out, but he's in no position to fuss otherwise. It's a great insult to show your back to the enemy in Orcish culture. Blackmail is my speciality." I wink before joining the now composed orc. "Warrior, your name?" "Zog." "No title?" His expression sours before he turns around. I'm not surprised. If I could best him, then he doesn't yet deserve a title. Only the strongest of warriors gain the right to earn one, and he's currently lacking. Clara pulls on my sleeve and whispers to me. "What did you say?" "Are you going to question everything?" "It's not my fault I can't speak Orcish." She releases my sleeve and crosses her arms. I sigh and roll my eyes. "This big lug is called Zog. That's it." I pause. "Please don't ask me about every little conversation. It'll get tedious real fast. If it's something important, I'll make sure to relay it. So for now, smile and look pretty." I reach my arm around her shoulders and we quietly follow Zog. Keep close. It doesn't take long to find ourselves thrown into the thick of the camp. Several warriors watch us as we travel past, and Clara stands so close she's practically hugging my arm. I don't blame her fear, being so small in comparison, but fear is weakness, and they'll surely use it against us. We stop outside of a large tent that was once white but now stands faded due to the harsh conditions. Zog tells us to wait outside and enters the tent. I feel the cautious stares of the war band behind us. and they reek of resentment. Half-orcs are not welcome in either human or orc world. They're an anomaly that should be killed at birth, according to these lot. My mother fought for my safety until the day she was caught and slaughtered. Ronar, are you sure we're safe? Clara asks, still as a statue. Zog abruptly exits the tent. Our chieftain will see you. I nod to him in gratitude before squeezing past with the attached Clara. The interior is nothing special. A few crates rest here and there, while a large table sits in the middle, covered in bones and the meat of wild animals. 2 great orcs sit behind it, chewing on their meal. One smiles when he sees us enter, but the other one wrinkles his nose as if we're no better than a pair of cockroaches. I take a small bow and wiggle my arm free. I nudge her on the shoulder, and she offers a timid bow of her own. Greetings, noble chieftain. I assume that your friend is none other than your war chief? The latter sounds a mocking grunt, deeming the words I speak to be of little value. You waltz in here spouting talk of peace? You're just a halfling who can barely use our beautiful language. How dare you taint it with your devil tongue? He slowly reaches behind him for his war axe, but the chieftain holds up a palm in warning. Calm down, Uwok. That's no way to speak to our guests. Guess! This beast brings a human into our camp. Uwok bangs his fist against the table, which causes the plates to clatter. A tankard of water falls and spills onto the floor, latching Clara back onto my arm. Who pissed all over your meal, Uwok? That's a nice name you have there. It's a shame you have such a shitty personality to go with it. I spit at my feet and glare at the war chief, where he matches it with a low growl. Calm, calm. The chief runs a hand through his matted hair before sighing. Excuse Uwok. He's never been fond of humanoids. Thankfully, he's not the one calling the shots. Forgive me. I don't take too kindly to blockheads. I bow again, not removing my eyes from Uwok's. How should I address you, chieftain? I am Yodok, Ripper of Spines and the chieftain of this tribe. We've lived here for several years after we lost our previous homeland. Gods truly did forsake us. He shakes his head sadly as flickers of remorse shine through. It's because you let the humans take it from us, Uwok mutters under his breath. What's it like to have your second-in-command constantly undermining you, Yodok? I smile smugly. You'll need to keep an eye on that one. Nonsense. Uwok would never go against my will. That would be treason. He pauses and shrugs. Enough chit-chat. What brings you to my encampment? We're on a mission to find recruits for our order. I'm their chieftain. Uwok snorts, but I ignore it. I hear from my human friend that there's a city north of here. Is that true? As true as the sand. The city you seek is a short walk north, but alas, you won't find a single warrior for your cause inside. Only a smattering of families too afraid to leave remain. He lets out a triumphant laugh. Serves them right for throwing us out generations ago. How can you be so sure that there are no warriors left? We formed an understanding between us and them. If they provide us with crops and meat, we won't kill the stragglers. The mayor of the city is due to meet with us tomorrow morning. I could give you permission to stay the night. Are you insane? Uwok shouts, jumping up from his chair and throwing the table across the tent. We can't let these creatures stay here. I've had enough of this peace treaty between us and the humans. It needs to end. We need to take back our pride. He picks up his axe and marches towards Clara. This one's blood will be the first. I forbid it. Obey your chieftain. He doesn't listen and breaks into a sprint, raising his weapon high into the air. His strike will land at any moment. I see a flash of metal as the blade of his axe connects with Clara's feeble dagger. She's knocked to the ground and I spin away. She was able to slow the weight of an orc twice her size and triple her build. Color me impressed. Ronir! Why is he attacking me? She shouts as she dodges a second attack. Yodak gives up trying to stop him and watches from his chair. He chews on the bone of an ox, as if we're all absent. He just doesn't like us, I call back, reaching for my dagger. I race toward him as Clara narrowly dodges another blow. For a powerful war chief, he sure is slow. They're always too slow. I scream a war cry as I propel myself onto his back. I lock my arms around his neck as he screams and tries to shake me off, but I refuse to budge. I plunge my dagger between his shoulder blades and Clara in his side. He falls to his knees while flailing his axe in a last-minute attempt to impale Clara. Oh dear. A great and powerful war chief has been defeated by two puny animals. I pull my dagger free from his skin and remove myself from his body. He rolls over and spits in my face. You won't die from such a minor wound. Your neck, however, is exposed. Luckily for you, I would never take that right away from your chieftain. You're at his mercy now. I walk over to Clara and pat her on the head. You did well. I don't understand any of this orc babble, but thanks. She smiles and wipes dirt off her chin, fastening her dagger to her belt. The adrenaline must have kicked in. I would have died otherwise. Don't put yourself down, rookie. You did great. I mean it. I ruffle her hair and salute Yodak. If you say there's nothing to be had in the next city over, I'll take your word for it. If Uwak was a little more cordial, I might have stayed, but I'd rather not take my chances. Yodak sighs and strides over to Uwak. He helps him to his feet and wipes off some of the blood. You've given him some wonderful war paint, travelers. It's a shame he's stuck in the old ways of bloodshed and rot. I remain quiet and grab Clara's wrist, leading her out of the tent as we begin our journey home. I open the door and walk through with Clara close behind. Julio jumps up from his chair and skips over for a hug. Any luck? He whispers into my ear. I shake my head. We could have stayed the night, but their war chief didn't take very kindly to our presence. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he's going to stage a rebellion sooner or later. I gently push Julio away and pace over to Lydia to ruffle her curls. He didn't give you any trouble, did he? Oi! Lydia shakes her head with her eyes glued to Clara. I wonder how often they're apart. He was of no bother. See? Lydia's a good girl. She looked after me just fine, Julio states as I turn around. You two, on the other hand, are covered in dust. Did you get into a tumble? It goes in one ear and out the other. I pull off my cloak and throw it atop the table as I collapse into a chair. Uwak didn't like us or the way I spoke. Remarkably, Clara was able to stand her ground against someone so well built. I smile at her, and her cheeks flush red beneath her freckles. I didn't do anything. Not really. I was petrified for most of the journey. Orcs are the size of ogre children, so it brought back a lot of bad memories. I wasn't of much use. She bows her head in defeat. Nonsense. I gesture for Lydia to go and comfort her sister. You did fine. An ordinary commoner wouldn't have been able to block a weapon from such a weighted attack. Very high marks, top of the class. You'll get an extra carton of chicken tonight in celebration. You're being kind. Instead of Lydia embracing her sister as I imagined, she begins punching her in the stomach. Clara laughs and pushes her away. You're a good fighter. Strong. Don't put yourself down. Lydia's tiny words escape her mouth. I've met many bandits and sellswords in my time, Clara. None would have been able to dodge a blow like that. I'm glad to have you on my team, alive. I glance down at Lydia, who has her cheeks puffed out in a sulk. I don't think Lydia would have managed it. She spins around and faces me as her eyes threaten to spill tears despite the attempt to look fierce. I'm strong too. Not in the same ways as Clara, but I'm strong. I never said you weren't. When it comes to brute force, Clara has you covered. Your strength lies in your accuracy and ranged attacks. I'm sure your agility is also very high due to your size and build. I smile at her, but her expression remains hurt. You complement each other well. I won't be separating you again. Lydia trembles before embracing her sister. She clings on tightly as her muffled whimpers float into the room, and I become painfully aware of just how young they are. And that is the end of the excerpt for Shifting Kingdoms, Ronir story. Which, again, phenomenal. Now, so this one, I don't know if Cazzie is in the chat, but she had recently sent me some updates to this. So what I had read before was pretty much the same, but she had some typos she said in it. I didn't catch the differences between them. But either way, really well written. Let me go ahead and get my webcam back up here and bring the promo back up so we can see both of these wonderful covers. Sorry, working between two screens. Yeah, phenomenal read. I really enjoyed that, and I liked the kind of play on it. You know, you've got the orcs. They talked about ogres. I'm guessing that's Ronir on the cover. I know it sounded kind of manly. I wasn't sure how to give a female orc a voice, so I just kind of used a slightly higher pitched voice for mine. I apologize about that, and I think it changed throughout the reading anyways. But don't let that distract from the amazing writing of both of these stories. These were both phenomenal. I really enjoyed reading them. I really hope that you guys enjoyed hearing them. And as always, I'm way behind on the chats. Thank you, Vixen. I appreciate that. I do try. Not nearly as talented as some of the audiobook narrators that have jumped into this chat. So, yeah, like Matt's in here. Matt is phenomenal at that. Tegan's in here. And I think I saw Connor in here earlier. Yeah, female orcs are tough. So it did sound just kind of like my normal voice with a slightly higher pitch, but I liked it. I mean, I liked her character. I liked the play. Both of these stories, I think it works out in each week where both stories I end up reading kind of have something similar to them. Both of these stories had really good character back and forth. They had a lot of characters, and each character had their separation, very clear and defined separation, which I really like, and that's really difficult to do. So I appreciate both of these writers for their talent in doing that. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it. Yeah, this, again, phenomenal week of reading, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, atlascreedauthor.com. If you go to the live author reading sections, go all the way to the bottom. That's got all my previous reads, including this week. I have these separate videos for last week's down. I just have not gone on to YouTube to upload them. I'll be doing that tonight. So I believe it was Mana and Rachel Shuri last week. I apologize that I have not gotten those up yet. They will be up tonight, I promise. And then again, this one takes about 24 hours for the YouTube video to allow me to download it. And I'll be doing the same with these two stories here, downloading them, breaking up into just the excerpts and popping them on the page. I'll show you kind of what that looks like. So let me get the website up. So if I go back to, I would typically go back to last week's, but I can't do last week's this time. So if I go back here, it'll typically look something like this. It'll be just the excerpt. So, 15, 20 minutes or so excerpt of the reading, and it'll be under each of the authors' videos just like that. Like I said, I haven't gotten that done on last week's. I'll be getting to that tonight, so they'll be in here, tonight. I'm going to add the date in here. I know, Amanda, you said this is coming out in March, which is super soon. When it does come out, if you don't mind sending me the link so I can get your end in the beginning updated so that when somebody comes in here to the website, they can just click on it if Mana is in here. If not, don't worry about it. But, yeah, so again, this week, M.A. Kilpatrick and Cazzie Bliss, phenomenal books. Please, by all means, both of these books are out. Go check them out if you like what you heard. And if nothing else, please go support the authors. Something completely free that you can do, aside from M.A. Kilpatrick's ebook being free right now, something free you can do is just go follow these authors on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever social media you have. Go to their website, support them. Share their name around. Even if you can't buy the book or aren't interested in the book, that's fine. Try and share it around. If you just share my author page, if you just share the link to this, have anybody come look at any of these books and maybe they'll find their next read. I absolutely encourage supporting as many indie authors as you possibly can. Hey, Dennis, how you doing? We're right here. We're right at the end of it. So I'm just going to end with my typical ending that I always try to end before 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because Sean Amick and Megan Mossgrove, who was in the chat, I don't think she's still here now, They run this Between the Pages podcast. Sean Amick usually runs it, so by all means follow him on TikTok. They go on TikTok Live just like I'm doing here, and they do their live author interviews where the authors can talk about their books and promote their material. So if you are in here and you got your live reading and you haven't done a live author interview with Between the Pages, by all means go do it. If you would like, indieauthorconnect.com has a Discord link. I'm going to drop the demo page down here now so you can actually see me. indieauthorconnect.com right up here on TikTok. Go to it. We've got all kinds of resources on the homepage. There's a join the Discord link. By all means, join the Discord, hop on in. You can talk to the audiobook narrators that are in there, the editors, the cover designers, so on and so forth. You can put your requests in through there. You can email them through the site. Come join this community. I appreciate everybody that stopped by to support these amazing authors. Come in next week, next Thursday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our next authors that we've got. Anyways, that's it from me. Thank you guys. Have a good evening. Bye.